Probably the coolest thing about the 3D printing community is the spirit of innovation through collaboration. Every week, it seems like someone is publishing an impressive new project to really push the limits of consumer 3D printing. All over the world, talented designers and engineers are sharing their hard work, most of it for free, for others to use and enjoy. This year, I've really been on a mission to find and highlight these gifted makers and their inspiring projects, and I just love that every single time I share one, you guys come back in the comments with 10 new amazing projects like it for me to check out. That's why for the last few weeks, I've been scouring GitHub, forums, subreddits, and Discord groups, all in search of the most exciting, underloved open source projects. And then I narrowed down the list from hundreds to only 50 or so of the most promising ones that you should know about. But that list was actually so long that I ended up posting a poll on our community page, and you guys told me that I need to break it into 3 or 4 videos. So in this first part of the series, we are going to be looking at open source printers, but in the coming months, we'll also be looking at open source toolhead designs, multi-material units, and much, much more. So whether you're looking for your next project or printer upgrade, or you just want to know what innovations are coming down the pike and will later inevitably be integrated into commercial products, stick around and make sure that you're subscribed because there is definitely something for everyone. Let's get after it. Now, just before we dive in, a few pieces of housekeeping. First, I am going to be putting links in the description to each one of these projects, including where you can find more info or purchase a kit to build them if applicable. Now, where available, some of those links will be affiliate links, which does help support the channel should you decide to purchase. But more importantly, on that note, I would like to remind you that the folks who create and maintain these projects do it for free and for fun, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't help support them if you derive value from their work. I did a whole video about this, going into detail about how so many of these designers really dream of doing this full time if only they could afford to do so. So I will link that video below, but for those of you who haven't seen it, I will just say that if you do plan to build any of these projects, it is customary to support the creator with a small donation or by just joining their Patreon. Oh, and one last thing, because the whole point of this video is to highlight lesser known up-and-coming projects, you will have to forgive the fact that there won't be as much beautiful B-roll as you guys are used to in my videos. And I do need to give a special thanks to those of you who have uploaded footage for these projects out in the wild, which I have used with attribution in accordance with the accepted fair use culture here on YouTube, and hopefully none of you mind. All right, are you ready? Here we go with the most unique and exciting open source 3D printers, starting with the LH Stinger by LemurHaze. It seems like these days, all anyone wants to talk about is CoreXY machines. But if you're still nostalgic for that classic bed slinger design and maybe want to prove to your friends that even a bed slinger can move quickly, then you might want to check this one out. To quote their GitHub, the LH Stinger is a, quote, no compromise Cartesian 3D printer designed for speed and precision, created as a long-lasting platform for those who like to push quality or speed to the extreme. I could sit here and I could read you a list of the features or the components or the design choices, but I think that in this case, seeing is believing. Yeah, this thing moves. Currently, there are kits available from Fabrico or from Physek directly, and they will set you back about $700 to $770. The Positron by KRALIN and LDO Motors. While we are talking about unique form factors, let's mention the Positron, a fully foldable, portable, and functional 3D printer that actually fits inside a filament box. Despite its funky form factor, this machine prints up to 180 by 180 by 165, and due to its low center of gravity, it even keeps up with the speeds of most modern printers. I actually did do a full video about the LDO Positron, which you can check out right here. Kits are available from major LDO resellers like 3D Jake, Matter Hackers, and more, and they will run you $675 without the printed parts. Assembly's on you. If that sounds a bit rich for your blood, you will probably want to check out the Lemontron, a mostly 3D printable derivative of the Positron. It features significant upgrades like an internal power supply and a Bowden tube, and a bed leveling sensor, and get this, it costs only $413 to build. Fortunately, the creator of the Lemontron does have his own YouTube channel, so it is easy to learn more should you want to. The Duender by Sergey Irbis. Over the last decade, KRALIN has probably sold a few million Ender 3s, and I think that it is safe to say that most of them are now either collecting dust or already in landfills. But no more. The Duender project by friend and fellow content creator Sergey Irbis allows you to take 2 Ender 3s and convert them into one CoreXY machine with better performance. It leverages predominantly 3D printed parts and is very well documented by Sergey. For more information, check out his channel or the printables page for the Duender below. The Ender 3 NG by RH3D. Okay, now that's pretty cool, but how many people have 2 old Ender 3s just sitting around? Well, if you only have one, you will want to meet the Ender 3 NG by RH3D. This project gives your lonely, neglected Ender 3 a serious glow up, converting it into a sleek, modern CoreXY machine using mostly printed parts and a couple of frame mods. NG, if you're wondering, stands for next generation, and honestly, it lives up to the name. You get linear rails, a top-mounted gantry, proper cooling, and support for toolheads like the Stealth Burner or the Galileo 2. It really is the perfect blend of budget-friendly and performance-focused, and since it uses the bones of your existing Ender 3, it saves you a lot of cash while teaching you a ton in the process. Now, there are no kits available yet, so you will need to self-source things like the printed parts, the rails, and other upgrades. Assuming you already have an Ender 3 though, you can expect the total cost to be around $200 to $300 depending on your choices. The 100 by MSzturc. What's that? You like 3D printed 3D printers, but you want to go fast, like really, really fast? Then let me introduce you to the 100. Don't let all the plastic fool you. This machine is designed to push the limits of DIY FDM 3D printing. 400 millimeters per second print speeds, 43 cubic millimeters per second flow, and a staggering 100,000 millimeters per second accelerations. Hence the name. If you want to go that fast, it will cost you about $350 to self-source and build. The VzBot by Vez3D. What's that? Seriously? You still want to go faster? Okay, but you might need to anchor the printer to your wall. Meet the VzBot, the brainchild of mad scientist Vez3D or Simon Vizina. The VzBot bills itself as a high-speed, moderately sized 3D printer based on the Tron XY XS5A CoreXY frame, but can be easily adapted for other 2020 aluminum extrusion frames. But that really doesn't do the project any justice. Personally, I would say that the VzBot project today is known for their insane CNC aluminum parts, ultra high performance hot ends and extruders, all-wheel drive functionality, and absolutely blistering speeds. Just have a look at this.
And that is high speed.
What's more, the VzBot has a thriving community of people around it all around the world. They even have a WhatsApp here in Israel where I live, and they have passionate members anywhere you could possibly look. In many different ways, I think of it as a more extreme and more niche Voron. Does that sound like something that you want to sink your teeth into? Well, it won't come easy and it won't come cheap. You will mostly be self-sourcing parts from a handful of different suppliers, and it'll likely set you back about $1,000 to $1,500 or more. Understandably, these types of monsters aren't for everyone, so let's go ahead and take a look at a few different printers by the Printers for Ants project, starting with the Micron. The Micron is a pint-sized powerhouse, a Voron 2.4, shrunk down to a build volume of just 120 to 180 millimeters, depending on your build. But don't let the size fool you. It is a full-featured CoreXY with linear rails, quad gantry leveling, tap support, and a split CAN bus setup if you want it. And because it is so small, it is also insanely rigid, meaning that it can move fast without sacrificing quality. It's great for those who want the Voron experience in a compact form or who want to stack an entire print farm on a shelf. Full kits for this one are available from Funzor, FormBot, and Fabrico, and they start at just $549. Salad Fork by Printers for Ants. If you like the idea of the Micron but not the whole flying gantry thing, then the Salad Fork is for you. Instead of being based on the Voron 2.4, it's actually based on the Voron Trident, which means that the bed moves on the Z while the gantry handles X and Y, making it a little bit easier to build and less complicated overall. It keeps the same compact form factor and many of the same features as the Micron, including those linear rails, the CoreXY motion, and support for modern toolheads and CAN bus setups. But because the gantry stays fixed in Z, it is a bit more beginner-friendly when it comes to tuning, building, and maintenance. The Salad Fork is especially popular among folks who want something small, fast, and rigid, but who don't want to deal with the complexity of a full flying gantry system. Unlike the Micron, there doesn't seem to be a whole plethora of official kits here. I actually only found one website that I've never heard of, but you can self-source pretty easily using the Trident BOM and some extra STLs from the GitHub, and folks like KB3D offer a lot of the specialized parts as well. Expect to spend around $600 to $900 depending on how fancy you want to get. The Double Dragon by Printers for Ants. If the Micron and the Salad Fork are about going fast, then the Double Dragon is about going twice as hard. This beast crams not one, but two full CoreXY toolheads into a single gantry, each with its own hot end, stepper, and extruder. It is a true independent dual extrusion, or IDEX, setup built with the rigidity and speed that you'd expect from the Printers for Ants crew. Whether you are printing dissolvable supports, multicolor parts, or just running two jobs at once, the Double Dragon is an absolute flex of engineering. Fair warning though, wiring, tuning, and managing tool offsets does apparently get a little bit more complex, so it's definitely not a beginner build. Currently, there are no kits available, so you will need to self-source everything from the frame to the electronics to the toolheads. Total cost, of course, depends on how fancy you want to get with the components, but do expect to spend anywhere from $900 to $1,300 for a complete build. Dueling Zero by Printers for Ants. Here, once again, if that sounds a little too rich for your blood, fear not. You can build the Dueling Zero, the smaller and more manageable sibling of the Double Dragon. Instead of two big toolheads on one gantry, this project features two completely independent Voron V0 style printers, which happen to share a single frame. Each side has its own motion system, its own electronics, and its own print area, which means that you can run two completely different prints at once, totally isolated from one another. It's kind of like having a very, very tiny print farm in one single enclosure. There are no kits currently, but the BOM and files are available on GitHub, and since it is based heavily on the Voron 0.2 parts, self-sourcing is totally doable as well. Expect to spend around $500 to $700 depending on your components. The K3 by Annex Engineering. If you're into fast, compact, and absolutely over-engineered printers, then you need to check out the K3 by Annex Engineering. This little beast packs a ton of performance into a 180 by 180 by 180 build volume, and it's designed from the ground up for speed, rigidity, and precision. Unlike most of the other printers on this list, the K3 does not use a standard CoreXY motion system. Instead, it runs a cross-gantry design, which is kind of like CoreXY's weirder, beefier cousin. It apparently reduces frame twist and racking, especially at those higher speeds, which means that this thing absolutely rips. The frame is fully enclosed, linear rails on every axis, 9mm belts, and support for modern toolheads like the Galileo 2 or Stealth Burner. Annex also has a super active community and killer documentation, so while this is definitely a more advanced build, you won't be flying blind. For this one, full kits are available from the fine folks at Fabrico, and they start at $950. The Mercury One by ZeroG. So we talked about using those old Ender 3s, but what about the Ender 5s? If you got one of those lying around, the Mercury One is a killer way to give it new life. It converts the stock frame into a linear rail CoreXY speed machine, complete with 9mm belts, modern toolhead support, and compatibility with mods like Tap, Nevermore, and CAN bus. Actually, my friend and fellow YouTube creator Mandic really has put out a ton of content around the Mercury One, which we will also link below. This one is a great middle ground between a full Voron build and something a little simpler to build out of the box, especially if you want something fast, rigid, and well supported. There's also a Mercury 1.1 variant with even more refinement. And it's affordable too. As long as you have the base printer, you're looking at something like $240 to convert it using the Fabrico kit. The Viking 3D Valkyrie by Roy Bensten. For those aiming to tackle high temperature materials like PEEK or Ultem, the Viking 3D Valkyrie is a formidable DIY option. This printer boasts a 310 by 310 by 300 millimeter build volume with a fully enclosed heated chamber capable of reaching up to 80 degrees C. Its inverted CoreXY kinematics and independent triple Z axis ensure precise and automated bed leveling, while the inclusion of an integrated heated dry box keeps your filament in optimal condition. Frame kits are available from suppliers like Maker Supplies, with prices starting around $800 USD. Additional components will need to be sourced separately though, and the total build cost will, as all of these, vary depending on your choice of parts and material. The Rook by Rolohaun Design. On the other hand, if you're looking to build a 3D printer that's both affordable and educational, the Rook by Rolohaun Design is a project worth considering. This mostly 3D printed CoreXY printer is designed with simplicity and cost effectiveness in mind, making it an excellent choice for beginners. With a reasonably compact build area of 120 by 120, it offers a practical platform for learning the intricacies of 3D printer construction and operation. Now, this project emphasizes accessibility with an estimated build cost of around $260 US, and of course, CNC machine parts are available from Funsor if you want to upgrade it a little bit. The Rook 2020 Mark II, also by Rolohaun Design and Kanrog. Now, for those who prefer a little bit of a more robust frame, there is the Rook 2020 Mark II, which incorporates a 2020 T-slot extrusion frame while maintaining the core design principles of the original. Frame kits for the Rook Mark II are available from suppliers like Funsor, but you're on your own for sourcing the electronics, the hardware, and the printed parts, so do expect to spend around $300 to $350. The Fenrir CoreXY by MakerViking. If mostly 3D printed 3D printers are something you're into, then check out the Fenrir, a compact and fully 3D printed CoreXY printer with integrated walls, giving it a super clean, rigid structure without the need to use aluminum extrusions. It runs on LDO linear rails, it uses the Orbiter 2 extruder with autoload, and it supports hot ends like the Revo Micro and Mosquito. With a 120 cube build volume, it is built for speed and reliability while maintaining that tiny footprint. Actually, I did interview MakerViking on the Infill podcast, so I will link to that episode below if you want to check it out and learn more about him. Infini-Z. Okay, so we covered 3D printed 3D printers, but what about 3D printers that literally 3D print on themselves? Like, the Infini-Z by Sunshine features an infinite Z axis, allowing it to extend its own frame upward as it prints. Isn't that weird? Currently, the Infini-Z is in the conceptual and development stages, with obviously no kits available. But builders interested in this ambitious project will need to follow Sunshine's updates and be prepared for a highly experimental build. The Babybelt Pro by Printcepts. Up next, another type of infinite Z printer, the Babybelt Pro. Designed with affordability and simplicity in mind, it features a mostly 3D printed frame utilizing common and cost-effective components. Now, this is a great way to get into belt printing without breaking the bank, and it should cost you less than $200 to build. The Milo CNC by Millenium Machines. Okay, one last machine, though I admit this one is not a 3D printer. It's the Milo CNC, and I just have to include it because it's like kind of the Voron of CNC machines. Also, I had their founder Jake England on the podcast, and he's a really great guy. So the Milo is a fully open source, desktop-sized CNC mill designed for serious metalwork. Think aluminum, brass, even light steel, all from your garage. It's built like an absolute tank with precision linear rails, ball screws, and a stiff all-metal frame. Now, unlike many desktop CNCs, it offers a pretty large working area of 360 by 160 by 120, and unlike most CNC kits that feel like a science fair project, the Milo is a clean, compact kit, and it feels like a product. High-quality LDO motors kits are available from West 3D and Matter Hackers, and they'll set you back $12.99. All right, folks, that is all for this installment of the series, but please do make sure to subscribe if you aren't already, because we have another couple videos just like this coming out in the series. What's more, if I missed anything or there are other cool projects that you'd like to see me feature in future videos like this, let me know down in the comments below. For now, that's all for this week, but I'll see all of you on the next layer.